people who work hard and want to get on with their lives.
Question number 2, Jacinda Ardern.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Social Development and asks, does she stand by all her answers to oral questions on Tuesday?
The Honourable Tony Ryall.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, within context, yes.
Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary to the Minister. If her answer to child poverty is work, what policies has her government introduced to address the fact that 40% of children in poverty are in the homes of the working poor?
The Honourable Tony Ryall.
Mr Speaker, this government, on behalf of the Minister, this government has worked very hard to make sure that we have an economy that can weather the winds of the international financial crisis. We've worked very hard to protect those who are working hard to get ahead, and of course the government has cut tax rates so that the vast majority of workers pay no more than 17.5% in tax, and we also have a range of support available for them, from working for family to in-work tax credits.
Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary to the Minister. If low interest rates have benefited families who are struggling, as she has claimed, does she accept that 70% of families living in poverty are in rental accommodation?
The Honourable Tony Ryall.
On behalf of the Minister, I think the member is probably confusing an answer to a different question. Of course, lower interest rates are benefiting the many families who have mortgages, but at the same time, for those people who are in hardship, this government, unlike many other governments around the world, has worked to protect these families as best as we can. We've legislated CPI increases for benefit levels, lowered tax rates, protected working for families. I'd only ask the member to watch the television news every night to see what countries under financial pressure are actually doing, and it is a lot less than this government.
Darien Fenton.
Supplementary to the Minister. Does she agree that every worker should have the income necessary to provide them and their families with the basic necessities of life so they can participate as active citizens in society? And if so, will she be supporting their living wage campaign?
The Honourable Tony Ryall. Mr Speaker, of course the Minister wants to make sure that families are in the best position that they can be. But I would say, with respect to the second part of the question, that member was in government for 9 years and refused a $15 minimum wage.
Supplementary.
Darien Fenton.
To the Minister, has she asked her parliamentary cleaner what it's like to live on minimum wage, work long hours and struggle to support her family? And if so, what did she learn about the reality of poverty?
The Honourable Tony Ryall.
On behalf of the Minister, I think New Zealanders know that this Minister herself has come from a very hard experience as a young mother bringing up her own child. And I think she understands those difficulties that families have. And that is why this government, more than any other in the Western world, has worked to protect those in those most vulnerable positions. When you look at what's happening in Europe, where benefits and pensions are being frozen and cut, this is a government that's been determined to protect those people from the sharp edges of the recession.
Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary to the Minister. What does she believe is a living wage for a family of 4 with one parent in full-time work?
The Honourable Tony Ryall.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, look, I think with respect to that specific question, I think the Minister would reply that she believes that New Zealanders should get as much support as they can and work as hard as they can to do that. And we have a system that provides support for those people who need it.
Point of order, Mr.
Point of order, Jacinda Ardern.
That was quite a specific question, Mr. Speaker. If the Minister was unwilling to venture an answer, perhaps he should be more explicit.
Now, the member asked for an opinion. If I recollect correctly, what does the Minister think is a living wage from memory? Now, when a member asks a Minister an opinion like that, there's no specific answer. The member, I accept what she's saying, that maybe he could have tried a bit harder, but that's absolutely in the hands of the Minister.
Supplementary question, Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary to the Minister. If, as she has claimed, the cause of poverty is not enough people in work, but the cause of unemployment is the global financial crisis, but the answer to everything is welfare reform, will her response always be a circular vortex of excuses?
The Honourable Tony Ryall.
On behalf of the Minister of Social Development, the Minister's answers will always be based on the fact that this is a government that's determined to have a strong, growing economy. It is only with a strong, growing economy can we support the jobs and the opportunities that New Zealanders want. This is a country that's gone from having a debt of $8 billion 3.5 years ago to $72 billion in the next 2.5 years. We have borrowed extensively to protect the most vulnerable from the sharp edges of the recession, and have also used the taxes of working New Zealanders to do that.
Question number 3, Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Finance.